Good morning, bookworms. It's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm. Welcome back to my channel. So this is the start of my week 7 currently reading vlog. It's currently Wednesday morning at about 9 a.m. and I am on my way to work. I finished a book last night. I finished The Time Traveler's Wife, which I listened to on audiobook, which I was reading this for a workbook club that is meeting tonight, so I had to finish it. I actually finished it this morning. I had a little bit left last night and I was just really tired. The ending is a little sad, as a lot of book endings can be, and I just wasn't in the mood to like cry before going to bed, if that makes any sense. So I decided to cry before work, which is also kind of weird. Anyways, so for those of you who don't know, The Time Traveler's Wife is about this guy who has a genetic condition that causes him to time travel, and so he goes through his life, and usually under like stress or things like that, he'll time travel either forward or backwards in time, but he shows up naked because he can't take anything with him from his current time. So like every time he time travels, he's completely naked in the place that he travels to and when he comes back. Anyway, so the story is about this time traveler and also his wife, and it's kind of interesting because he goes back in time and like meets his wife when she's a little girl, so she knows him the whole time that she's growing up, but he doesn't meet her until he's like 25 or whatever. The time travel aspect is a little bit mind-boggling because like it's kind of circular, right? Like some things have happened for her already but haven't happened for him, so like her past is in her past but in his future. So that kind of stuff, I think it's just like super interesting, and I mean it's a little mind-boggling, but still it was just a really interesting concept and I liked exploring that. It is an adult romance, so a lot of it was relationship focused. I mean, you can probably tell that from the title of the book, and there were definitely parts that were boring to me because I'm just not really into romance or contemporary too much. By the time I got 75% through the book, I was so engrossed in the characters and I cared so much about the characters that the mundane stuff didn't bother me anymore, but at about 50% I was bored with some of that mundane stuff. But it definitely got easier towards the end of the book. The ending was a little weird for me. Like I said, it was a little bit sad, but I also I didn't feel fulfilled at the end. I just felt like I was still missing something. So I think I'm going to give The Time Traveler's Wife a 4-star on Goodreads, but somewhere between 4 and a 4.5 if I'm giving half stars. I did get really attached to the characters. I did love the time traveling aspect of it, and it did make me a little emotional at various points, which I can't say is hard to do. I do get emotional pretty easily. On to the next book. I've been reading The Daughter of the Pirate King, which is an ARC. I was kindly approved for through NetGalley and the publisher, and it comes out on February 28th, so I need to read it before then, so I started that over the weekend a little bit. I don't know why I request books from NetGalley, because for any given book I get off of NetGalley, I feel like I have a 50% chance of liking it. Just when I get an ARC, there's just not a high chance that I'm gonna actually like it for some reason, so I don't know why I do this to myself, but I did. Daughter of the Pirate King is not going too well. I'm only 20% into it, but the main character, which is the daughter of the Pirate King, is driving me nuts. She's just super cocky, and she's one of those characters who is like good at everything and like can get out of any trouble and just like super capable, but cocky about it at the same time. The other thing that's bugging me is the writing style. It's very dialogue heavy, which I don't like. I will say that the plot is semi-interesting. I'm, kind of interested in what she's doing right now, and that's, what's keeping me reading, and I want to give it a little bit more of a chance. But if things don't turn around soon, like if I don't really get hooked soon, then I might DNF it. I'm not scared to DNF books, and I don't like to push myself to read things that I'm not enjoying because there's so many other books out there that I could be enjoying. But I need to give it a decent chance because I am going to review it, and I got it from NetGalley, etc. I'm also sort of reading the Scorpio Races, but I haven't touched it in like 5 days because I just haven't really been in the mood for it, and I've been reading other things. So those are all the updates I have for now, and I will check in with you guys later when I've read some more. Bye! Hey bookworms, it is Friday afternoon at about 1, taking a quick lunch break to run to the library. I have 4 books that I'm going to return to the library, and they're all ones that I've already told you about. I've decided I really want to focus on like finishing series that I've started. I mean, always the question with series is, do I go back and finish series that I already have like unfinished, or do I just continue on what I'm reading? And what I've decided is, starting with all the sequels and things that I read at the beginning of the year, I'm going to go ahead and finish out all of those series. If one of those series isn't complete yet, then I'm just going to stop reading it now and wait till the series is completely published, and that way I can binge them. That's going to be kind of my tactic for this year. I'm going to try really hard to keep continuing series until they are complete. I hate having to reread a book in a series so I can read the next one. It drives me absolutely insane. Not that I don't like rereading, I do, and there's still some new releases that are sequels that I'm gonna be doing that with, like The Conjuring of Light comes out in a few days, and I need to request the audiobook for the middle book in the series so that I can re-listen. I mean, I feel like I know what happened, but it's been a while. Anyways, that's why I'm going to the library. I need to pick up some sequels. I'll be doing another library haul soonish, so don't worry, you guys will see what I'm picking up at some point. I do have a small reading update to give you. So I have started listening to the Scorpio Races on audio. I was reading it physically. I mean, it was okay, but I was just not super into it yet, and I thought, let me try the audiobook. It was available without a wait at my library, so I started it the other day when I was running, and I actually really like the audiobook, so I think I'm going to continue to make that like my current audiobook since I finished The Time Traveler's Wife. So Scorpio Races is going to audiobook, and it's going good. I decided last night after reading, I think like 32% of The Daughter of the Pirate King, that it is just not for me, and I DNF'd it. Just the main character to me was really annoying, and there's other things about the writing style that were bugging me, like too dialogue heavy, not enough like description of the world and the surroundings and things like that. I could tell it was not going to work. It was already annoying me, and there's a lot of like flirty banter stuff. I guess it could be cute, but to me it was just not realistic, or it just didn't feel right to me. So I decided officially to DNF that, and I will be giving it probably a 2-star rating on my blog. So after I DNF'd that, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to read next, because I'm kind of out of physical books to read right now, which is why I'm going to the library. But I did have another arc that comes out at the beginning of March that I needed to read before then, so I went ahead and started that, and that is The Bone Witch. It is off to a good start. I can already tell that the writing style suits me a lot better than The Daughter of the Pirate King, so I'm not having a hard time reading it yet. I'm only about 10% in, so I still have a lot more of it to read before I can really make a solid opinion, but it's off to a good start, and I'm excited to be reading it. Those are all the reading updates I have for you guys right now, and I will check in with you guys probably Sunday night or Monday morning to wrap up week 7. Bye! Good morning, bookworms. So it is Monday morning at about 9:15. I am on my way to work, per usual. So now it's time to wrap up what I read over the weekend and wrap up this week's vlog. So yesterday I went on a run, and I ran for a whole hour, which is really impressive for me because I don't think I've ever run for a whole hour straight like in my life. I don't think I've mentioned this, but I have decided to sign up for a half marathon, and I've only run a couple like 5Ks before, and like that's it, and I didn't really train for them either. So I'm actually, trying to train for this one, but I'm like not really a runner. I'm a wannabe runner. Like I want to be a runner, but I don't particularly like running too much. All this running is giving me more time to listen to audiobooks, and I listened to more of the Scorpio Races yesterday while I was running. I'm loving the audiobook, so any problems I had connecting with the characters or the story when I was reading it physically are now gone completely, partially because the narrators and listening to it on audio, but also as I got further into the story I just started to enjoy it more. So Scorpio Races is going really great. I'm about 40% in. I'm loving it. The other thing that I've been reading this weekend is The Bone Witch, which is an e-arc that I got from NetGalley, and it was off to a really good start. I was really enjoying like the concept of the story, so it's not a spoiler, this happens at the very beginning of the book. This girl accidentally brings her brother back to life and finds out that she's like this really special type of witch called a bone witch, and so she gets picked up by a professional bone witch, I don't know, to go into training. That's kind of how the story kicks off. The magic system and like the setup of the story I thought was really intriguing, and at first I was enjoying the writing style. I'm about 20% in now, and I'm starting to lose it. So the writing style is very flowery and descriptive, which at first I didn't mind. I don't know if it's getting worse or if I'm just like getting tired of it, but it's wearing on me a little bit. And and it's also starting to get very slow and info dumpy. I feel like at first the info dumping was done kind of like sneakily, and I didn't really notice it, and I just thought I was like learning more about the world. But at this point, I'm learning all these things about the world that have nothing to do with anything that's going on. So it's definitely getting very info dump-y, if that's a word. I just made that up. So I don't know. I'm not ready to give up yet, even though I'm like 20% in, and I should have a pretty good idea if I'm gonna like it or not. It was off to a really good start, and the writing style, even though it's starting to bug me a little bit, is not like so bad that I can't read it. So I read a lot before I go to bed, hence the name of my channel. I keep falling asleep without even finishing a single chapter every night, and I think part of that is that the chapters are really long. At least I think they're really long. It's really hard to tell on ebooks. That's a little frustrating. So it's not going great. And that is all that I've read in the past couple of days. I hope you guys had a really great weekend and got a lot of good reading in. Until next time, bookworms, keep reading. Bye! I'm gonna talk spoilers. So there's two things I want to talk about. First of all, the part that really got me emotionally is just the idea of like Henry. Obviously Henry dying is really sad, but at the same time the idea of like knowing that you're gonna die, probably how it's gonna happen, when it's gonna happen, for him to know that, but then also for like his family to know that. So Claire and Alba knowing that they only have this limited amount of time with Henry is just so sad. So that's what I found really sad about the end, is not just that Henry died, but that his whole family basically knew it was coming, and they, you know, had to make the best of the time that they had together. But I mentioned that the ending left me a little bit unfulfilled, so I want to talk about that. And so Claire's part of the story, I felt like it was unfinished. Like I didn't feel like I got enough about what she did after Henry died. Henry writes Claire this letter saying, please live your life, don't wait for me, you've spent all of your life already like waiting for me to come back every time I time travel, and I don't want you to do that for the rest of your life. I want you to be happy and move on, and like, I'm getting emotional and like, hold me in your heart, but go and live your life, right? Which I thought was great. I love that he wrote that letter. So then after Henry dies, we have a scene where she has sex with, I can't remember his name, but you know, that guy, her best friend's husband, and it was just like that one scene where like they had sex, and then we don't get any closure about that. They just like move on like nothing happened, which was really weird to me. And then you jump to when she's like 80 and he shows up, and I mean, we don't know, but it seems like she's been waiting for him her whole life. I just wish I knew that she went on and either met someone else, or just like that she lived a full life and like was happy. You know, what happened before she was 80? Was she waiting for Henry the whole time? Because that's sad, and like he didn't want her to wait for him the whole time. I don't know. That's what left me feeling unfulfilled about the end, is like Henry told Claire to move on. She randomly has sex with best friend's husband. I guess not too random. There was some story build up to that or whatever, but like kind of came out of the blue, and then it doesn't go anywhere. And then you jump to when she's 80 and he shows up again, and it seems like, oh, I'm getting emotional. It just seems like she spent her whole life waiting for him, and I feel like that's so unfair for her. I mean, maybe she didn't, but we don't know, and that's what's driving me crazy, and that's what made the ending a little bit unfulfilling. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. I don't know why I keep crying. I just finished it this morning, so just like thinking about Claire and her life and how she was just like waiting for Henry all the time, makes me really sad. Like I said, I get emotional about books really easily. So anyways, bye.